The bus stop shimmered in the midday heat, a narrow strip of shade barely holding back the sun, when a small voice cut through the hum of traffic and routine and struck a nerve so deep it felt like a memory waking up. A single dad sat there with a paper cup cooling between his palms and the weight of unfinished grief on his shoulders, and a one-legged girl stood in front of him with a quiet courage that made the air feel suddenly heavier. The question she asked was simple, almost fragile, yet it carried a lifetime of hope and fear balanced on its edge, and for a moment the whole street seemed to lean in to hear how he would answer. Before the story unfolds any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and small moments that change lives, please take a second to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel, Good Soul. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The man's name was Marcus Hale, and at 39 he looked older than he was, the kind of tired that sleep could not fix. Daytime had become his hardest companion since losing his wife 3 years earlier, because daylight reminded him of promises made and broken by fate. He worked mornings at a hardware store and spent afternoons waiting for his son Jonah to finish school, always choosing the same bus stop bench because it faced a small park where children laughed, reminding him that life still moved forward even when his own heart felt stuck in place. Marcus carried guilt like an extra limb, believing he had failed at protecting the life he loved most, and that guilt made him cautious, guarded, afraid of opening any door that might lead to more loss. The girl approached with careful steps, her prosthetic leg catching the light as she moved, not hidden, not ashamed, simply part of her story. Her name was Rhea Collins, and she was 12 years old, though her eyes held an age far beyond that. Losing her leg in a road accident 2 years earlier had taken more than her balance, it had taken her sense of belonging. Daytime outings were the hardest, when the world was wide awake and stares felt sharper, and today she had worked up the courage to leave her aunt's apartment alone for the first time, just to prove to herself that she could. The bench at the bus stop looked full even with one seat open, because fear can fill empty spaces faster than people ever do. Marcus noticed her hesitation and felt a familiar tightening in his chest. He saw in her the same quiet isolation he recognized in himself, the way grief and difference make people hover at the edges of ordinary life. His first instinct was to retreat into silence, to keep his world small and predictable, but something about the girl's steady gaze stirred a memory of his son learning to walk, of scraped knees and the simple bravery of trying again. The challenge he faced in that moment was not about sharing a bench, it was about choosing whether to remain closed off or allow himself to be part of someone else's fragile courage. When Marcus responded, he did so not with words but with action, shifting his weight and moving his bag aside, creating space as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The relief that washed over Rhea's face arrived like sunlight after a storm, and as she sat, tears spilled freely, not from sadness but from the overwhelming release of being accepted without explanation. The bus stop returned to its normal rhythm, cars passing, birds calling from the park, yet something profound had settled between them, an understanding that did not need to be spoken aloud. They sat together in companionable silence, the kind that heals rather than isolates. Marcus felt a warmth he had not known in years, a gentle reminder that being present for someone else did not diminish his love for those he had lost. Rhea felt her spine straighten, her confidence rooting itself deeper into the ground, because one adult had treated her difference as ordinary, even welcome. Daylight softened around them, no longer harsh, no longer exposing, but kind. As the bus approached, Marcus realized that this small act had shifted something inside him. He was still a single dad with worries and scars, but he was also a man capable of offering safety in a world that often withholds it. Rhea stood with steadier balance than before, carrying with her a moment she would remember on harder days, proof that strangers could be gentle and that she did not have to shrink to fit into life. If this story touched your heart even a little, please take a moment now to like, share, and engage with this video on Good Soul. Your interaction tells us these stories matter and help spread kindness further than we ever could alone. Just before the end, we have a special request for you. Please comment below with a word, a symbol, or a short thought about a moment when someone's small kindness changed your day. The bus doors closed, the bench emptied, and the street returned to its usual pace, but the change lingered, invisible yet powerful. In the bright honesty of daytime, two lives had brushed against each other and quietly healed. Sometimes the most powerful answers are not spoken at all, and sometimes a simple invitation to sit can give someone the courage to stand a little taller for the rest of their life.